Welcome to our breakout session about digitalization and change. My name is Corinna Ossmann. I'm head of HR at Bosch Connected Industry and responsible for the Training Academy for Industry 4.0 tools, where we focus on change management and qualification. I'm here with my colleague Corinna Leitner.
Yes, a warm welcome also from my side and a few words to introduce myself. So within Bosch Connected Industries, I'm responsible for change management, and what I do, I support our customers when implementing our products with the people part. And if you have followed other presentations or discussions today, you may have already learned that this is an important part. And I'm very happy to have the chance to talk today about our lessons learned, about our experience we have with i4.0 implementation and change management. And it's a personal mission for me really to show how much better results you achieve when you include change management measures in your i4.0 implementation.
If you are interested in IT in production, we have an important message for you today. As Rolf Najork just said, people are a success factor for your digitalization of production. And this is not only a statement from us, but we can and we will prove that today. So, Corinna, you have plenty of experiences with rollouts of IT in shop floor. Could you give us an insight of your experiences?
Yes, sure. So maybe it's best to take you with me to one of our projects to explain a little bit more in detail what the people part really is and what kind of obstacles actually can happen on the way when implementing it. Okay. So if you have followed earlier presentations already, you have seen that product. So it is actually our product for the transport management. And what it does, it optimizes the material flow between logistics and production line. And what does concretely mean for the milk run driver in this case, he gets a tablet which dynamically calculates the route they have to take when transporting the material from logistics to the production line. And in detail, what the milk run drivers face is that instead of deciding on their own which route they're taking or taking a standard route, they have to take the given route of the tablet. And of course, this means change for them. Mm. And so when we stepped into the project, unfortunately, the acceptance of this tool was not as planned or as wanted. And different things were summing up that this was the case. So first of all, there was no really clear communication who was really to those people who were directly or indirectly affected. And there was no role-specific training for them. And why is this important? Actually, if things changes in our daily working routine, we really want to be prepared. We don't want to have the feeling of losing control of what is happening. Otherwise, what happens very easily that it leads to feelings like fear, anxieties, or frustration. So actually, it's important really to explain the what, the why, and the how. What is going to change? Why is this going to change? And how is that happening to me? And actually, this really mixed up, so this missing communication mixed up with a already general fear of losing job within the milk run team. And of course, they somehow understood already, okay, this might be something where we talk about cost reduction and job reduction. And this mixture, of course, led to a very emotional situation, and the supervisors were just really overburdened to handle the resistance that was appearing or they were facing, and to successfully really implement that i4.0 solution. So what happened at the end? The milk run drivers went to the Works Council, and the Works Council in turn found out that they have not been really involved in the project, which is at least in Germany, a must, and that is when the project came to a full stop. And that was also the point where we stepped then in.
Well, that wasn't a success story, I agree. But isn't that a single case? I mean, an exception? Managers, masters, top team leader in the shop floor, they know their people, they can foresee how they react, they should know what to do.
Well, Karen, I wouldn't be really so sure, because we saw topics like this over and over again. And actually, it didn't matter which target group, what kind of product, or if the plant was small or big. And that was actually the reason why we also wanted to understand, okay, what are the circumstances that over and over again lead to this? And what we found out that more or less you can categorize the reasons in one of these 4 areas. So it has something to do with the resources in the project teams. They are mainly technical, and they are focusing on the technical part. And this is already taking up all the resources. And that meets with the nature of fears and resistance that it is not very obvious. So it's not clear that there is a need for action. Plus, people part or people topics are often dealt very late in the project, mainly when we talk about qualification, and that is often too late. And last but not least, it also has to do something with how we deal with mistakes and how easily people can admit that things are not working well.
Okay, for the time being, let's play act. You were right. But can we really prove that change management has an impact on the success of digitalization and isn't just nice to have?
Well, yes, actually, we wanted to know our own if what we see in reality, if that can be proved. So, is there really an impact on on the project with change management measures, and how big it is? And therefore, we run a study, a scientific study together with the university. And we wanted really to understand, okay, what's the impact on the usage of I4.0 solutions, and what's the impact on the overall success of the project? And the results of this study were really surprising even to us, because what we learned is that 39% of the usage of an I4.0 solution can be influenced by measures like communication, involvement of employees, and proper qualification. What was even more astonishing to us, that the overall project success can be influenced by more than 50% by these kind of measures, and that is really, really important to know.
Wow. These figures are really stunning, but can we make sure, do we know what that means in figures in euros? I mean, total cost of ownership. This is interesting for people who are investing in technology.
Yes, yes. Maybe it's best to make a sample calculation to explain a little bit more what the numbers here means. So let's assume you are implementing an I4.0 solution, and you are expecting savings around 400,000 euros if implemented. And if you run this project without change management, you might have costs about 100,000 euros. You run the project, but then you're much likely to only realize half of the savings you have planned. Plus, you might create a really bad experience for your employees with I4.0. Whereas in contrast, if you run this project with change management, yes, you will have a little bit more costs, let's assume 25,000 euros. But if you run the project with communication, with a good involvement and a proper role-specific qualification for your people, then you are much more likely really to realize the 400,000 euros. And your people will have a good experience with the I4.0 solution, which is very important because it will influence all the upcoming I4.0 implementations you are going to do.
Okay, This is convincing. I've understood I have to invest time and money at the beginning to enable the technology to bring out the profit I want from it. But can you explain a little bit more detailed what does it mean to use change management methods? I mean, what did you actually do? How can we imagine the process?
Well, then let's go back to the project, to the example I have brought, the tablet for the milk run. In this case, what we did is when we stepped in, we did a proper analysis of, okay, who is really affected directly and indirectly when implementing this product by name, and who really needs to be involved because he or she or they can be a showstopper. What kind of a reaction do we actually expect, also based on prior experience of the staff with I4.0 or the other things. So this is really important to understand to then set up a proper roadmap. So you see an example here on the slide where we created information and communication setting sessions for each role specifically, plus a dedicated and role-specific training. Prior to the go-live of the product. And after the go-live, we implemented feedback loops so that the milk run drivers could give feedback very quickly to the project team, and they then had the chance to make quick improvements which helped to stabilize the usage of the product and also to build trust into this technology.
Thanks for those details about your approach. And could these measures help to solve the challenges, the problems you were talking about? What were your final results?
Yes, so we really could resolve all the critical topics that have been there. And so far, the product is now implemented and in use, and we also established a quick on-site support for the milk run whenever there are any technical issues. But let me explain a little bit more in detail what we really did in this communication and information sessions and in the training. So our focus was really to create good collaboration between logistics and production, to have a clear view of the impact, to have a full and transparent communication to all employees affected. We supported the supervisors in their communication, especially in those teams which were quite critical. And we did a qualification which was really on the job, so no classroom training. And last but not least, we fully integrated the Works Council, so they were invited to visit all our activities, and that helped really very much in the project. Mm-hmm. So these were important topics, and when you remember the issues at the beginning, there's one topic I didn't touch, but it is an important topic, and it was mentioned earlier by other discussions and presentation, and that's the fear that is generated with I4.0 or connected with I4.0, and it's a fear of job loss. And I know, Karen, you are really an expert in that area. What would you recommend to our audience? What can managers do really to deal with that fear of job loss, but still keep the motivation up for I4.0?
Thanks for the question. That's really a crucial point, and I think their management has a task before the investment. There is leadership asked for. First thing to do is to be open and not to play and to act with salami tactic, not to talk only about things which are already known, because talking about efficiency in most of the cases means talking about capacity. And if I'm talking about capacity, everybody would think about redundancies. And even if I'm not planning redundancies, there might be fear. And if there are redundancy, I have to be open and have plans. Plans I have if I, before investment, think about not only a technology strategy, but about a vision for my staff. I need to have some long-term objectives, and I have to talk about it. The staff must know, why do I invest? What is supported by IT, and where is their place in the future? Because if we are really true and think about it, we will need qualified staff. We will have tasks like explain, handle, interpret, and decide, of course. And until we are there where machines can take over, this has to be done by people, and people have to be trained by that. And for being trained, they need to be motivated and open for the challenges of new technology. That's why before investment, you have to have a vision. At Bosch, we worked on this vision together with the Works Council in a scenario project where we integrated top management and workers and working council.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Karen, for that insights, because it is an important topic, and it was also in this project an important topic, because at least we spoke about two milk run drivers, which were not needed anymore. But in this case, we actually offered them new jobs and better jobs. So this was a rather good solution, really, for this topic. So this is more or less what we wanted to show you, or wanted to tell you about our experience and lessons learned with change management in I4.0 projects. And to summarize what we learned are the success factors, you should keep in mind these 4 topics. So include change management as a part in your I4.0 project, and analyze the people part at the very beginning. Keep in mind that each project is different, so there is no standard. And last but not least, change management is not the same as project management.
Okay, thank you very much, Corinna, for this insight. Now we will skip to question and answer. Now it's time for your questions, and I've got my tool here to read your questions, and we will see who's answering them. And you're welcome to ask more questions. First question I see here is, what was your most fascinating experience when implementing such a change project, Corinna?
Well, I'm not sure if I can really say that there is the most fascinating experience, but what I always like very much is when you have people which are very resistant at the beginning, and then we support them, we accompany them with a proper communication, a good qualification, we take them serious, they get the chance to be involved, to give feedback. When they change from totally resistant to, you know what, I really like the product now. I understand what the impact is and why it is so much better to use it.
Okay, thank you. Another question is here. You talk about a project is more cost efficient with change management. What about the success of implementation?
Yeah, actually, the whole implementation is even also touched by that. When we talk about the overall success, the implementation is within that success, right? So it helps really with the implementation.
Okay. Corinna, you mentioned before the difference between change management and project management. Can you give there a little bit more details?
Yes, sure. So the project management mainly focuses really on the technical topics when talking about I4.0 projects, whereas change management deals with emotions, with fears, with resistance and things like that, and that of course needs different approaches and different tools.
Okay. Corinna, another interesting question. Why is the transformation of the mindset more important than the transformation of technology or processes?
Well,
I don't think we said that. That
no,
it's more important.
No,
but
it's not more important. Two things here. The one thing is that it surprised us really that the impact on the overall success is a little bit bigger than other things in the project. However, of course, still we are in a situation where we need people using that tool. And if they don't have the right mindset, if they are not willing to use it, you will never achieve the target. This is the point. And you need to involve people and to get them on board that they are willing really to change the mindset.
Yeah. I remember, Corinna, that you came back from a week in a plant and you were completely stunned because your experience was that most of the people in the shop floor didn't know about features of the IT tool. So it was expensive, but nobody used it.
Right.
I think this is that's what we have to keep in mind, actually. Here's another question. Why the transformation? No, that's the one we had, excuse me. How do people generally react when you start a project, and how does their perception change over time?
Well, in best case, we're in the project at the very beginning. And then actually it's not really, let's say, visible for them that there is a separate change management going on. That's not the point. It is integrated very smoothly into the overall project implementation. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's part. It's just part, and it doesn't feel like something, well, this is now suspicious or so. It's a little bit more difficult when we step into the project when I would say things already went into a direction where they see, okay, they need now somebody dealing with resistance. Then, of course, you need really experienced change managers who know how to get people on board in that situation, that specific situation.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So here's one question left. Maybe you can ask more questions, but I've got only on my desktop here one question left. Which advice would you like to give your audience when facing digital transformation on a company scale and on a personal one?
So on a company scale, it's very clear. Invest in change management measures. If you want the project be a success, the whole I4O journey be a success, you will need it. That's one point. So keep it in mind and spend the money on the measures you will need. And on a personal level, sometimes it's just talking to people. It helps very much when you were a project leader. Just go to the people who actually use it and talk to them and then ask them, okay, how's it going? How do you like it? Just like measuring the temperature to get a better feeling of, okay, what the people really need.
Okay. So there's a new question as well. Do you involve UX team for study?
In this study we did, no, but we are working very closely with our internal UX team, because often UX brings up topics that are not so much related with technical topics, but with change topics. And of course, we need to see how we can support our customers best and to understand how can we improve also our services so that the overall experience with our product is a good one.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, we often very close work together because we need both perspectives in the process. Okay, there aren't more questions. I don't know whether we have still time. Otherwise, I would. I've got the sign that we haven't got enough time. So we will be there and answer questions in the live chat latest tomorrow, and you will find our slides, of course, there as well. As well, I would like to tell you that we are going to write a white paper about the process and about the study, which you will find then on our homepage very soon. Now, please stay tuned, because Rolf Najorg will open his question and answer session with you. And that's a good possibility to ask all the things you still want to know. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.